A father's love is rarely loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask to be noticed. Most of the time, it shows up quietly, in routines, in restraint, in the choices he makes when no one is watching. A disciplined father doesn't say, "I love you," every day. He wakes up early. He goes to work, even when he's tired. He takes care of his health. He controls his temper. He keeps his promises, not because it feels good, but because someone is depending on him. Children may not understand this when they are young. They don't see the battles he fights in silence. They don't hear the fears he swallows before walking through the door. They only see what is visible. But discipline is invisible love. It is love that plans ahead. Love that chooses long-term safety over short-term comfort. Love that protects without asking for credit. A father who lives with discipline creates stability, and stability is what allows children to feel safe enough to grow. He doesn't teach with speeches. He teaches with consistency, with the way he handles pressure, with the way he treats his body, his time, and his responsibilities. This is the quiet way a father says, "I love you." Not once, but every single day. Children listen to what we say, but they learn far more from what we repeat. A father can give advice all day long about discipline, responsibility, respect. But none of it matters if his actions tell a different story. Children don't follow instructions. They absorb patterns. They watch how a father handles stress. They notice whether he keeps his word. They see if he takes care of his body or ignores it. They feel whether he reacts with control or explodes when things go wrong. Discipline becomes visible through behavior, not through lectures. When a father chooses consistency over convenience, children learn that effort is normal. When he manages his time with intention, they learn that life doesn't happen by accident. When he shows restraint instead of impulse, they learn that strength is not loud. And this is why discipline is such a powerful form of love. It creates a living example. A child may forget what a father said 10 years ago, but they will remember how he lived. They will remember the routines, the calm presence, the way he showed up, even when tired, discouraged, or unseen. A disciplined father doesn't raise perfect children. He raises grounded ones. Children who understand that stability is built, not given. And one day, without realizing it, they will repeat the same habits. Not because they were told to, but because they grew up inside discipline. That is how love becomes a legacy. Most of a father's discipline happens in silence, not in front of his children, not where anyone can praise him. It happens late at night, when he chooses rest over distraction, early in the morning, when he gets up before the world demands it, in moments of frustration when he swallows his ego instead of raising his voice. No one applauds these choices. No one keeps score. But these are the moments that shape a family. A disciplined father sacrifices comfort long before sacrifice is visible. He plans when others react. He saves when others spend. He prepares for problems that may never come. This kind of love doesn't feel emotional. It feels practical, sometimes even lonely, because discipline requires saying no to yourself, no to shortcuts, no to excuses, no to the urge to escape responsibility when it feels heavy. And children don't see this side. They only feel the results. They feel safety. They feel consistency. They feel the absence of chaos. And often, that absence goes unnoticed. But chaos doesn't need to be dramatic to be destructive. It grows quietly when discipline disappears. A father who stays disciplined when no one is watching is building a shield his children may never realize protected them. They may not thank him. They may never know how many times he chose restraint over release. But one day, when life tests them, they will have a foundation that holds. That foundation was built quietly, daily, without recognition. That is what real love looks like when it's measured in actions, not words. A father's discipline doesn't end with childhood. It follows his children into adulthood, quietly, steadily, often unnoticed. Years later, when a child becomes an adult, they won't remember every rule. They won't recall every correction or warning, but they will carry something deeper. They will know how to show up on time, how to keep going when motivation fades, how to stay calm under pressure, how to take responsibility without being forced, not because someone is watching, but because discipline became internal. This is the long shadow of a disciplined father. It stretches far beyond the years spent at home. When life becomes difficult, and it always does, children raised around discipline don't panic first. They assess, they act, they endure. They learned early that stability is built through repetition. That progress is often boring. That strength doesn't need an audience. A father who lives with discipline teaches his children how to respect themselves. They don't need constant approval. They don't collapse when things go unnoticed. They don't rely on motivation to do what needs to be done. Instead, they rely on habits, on standards, on a quiet sense of responsibility. And even when they struggle, there is a voice inside them, steady, familiar, calm, not shouting commands, not demanding perfection, just reminding them to keep going. That voice sounds a lot like their father, not in words but in rhythm. This is how discipline becomes love that outlives a lifetime. It continues working long after the father is no longer there to guide. And that may be the greatest gift a father can leave behind. A child who knows how to stand, even when standing is hard. A father's discipline is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in ordinary days, in showing up when he is tired, in keeping routines when no one is checking, in choosing patience over impulse, again and again. This kind of love doesn't look heroic. It looks repetitive. A disciplined father understands something important. Children don't need perfection. They need predictability. They need to know what kind of man will walk through the door. The same tone, the same standards, the same sense of responsibility. Consistency is what creates trust, and trust is what allows children to relax. When a father lives with discipline, his presence becomes steady, not intense, not emotional, just reliable. He eats well, not to look impressive, but to stay present longer. He rests, not to escape, but to recover. And he manages his time, not to be busy, but to be available. These choices seem small, but they accumulate. Children grow up inside that accumulation. They grow up knowing that love is not mood-based. It doesn't disappear when things are inconvenient. It doesn't depend on praise or attention. Discipline teaches a child that commitment is real, that responsibility is normal, that showing up is not optional. A father who lives this way may feel invisible at times. His effort blends into the background of everyday life. But that background is exactly what makes a home feel safe. Years later, children may struggle to explain why they feel secure in the world. They won't say it was because of discipline. And they will say things like, "I always knew I could rely on him." And that is the quiet reward of a disciplined father, to be remembered not for what he said, but for how he was always there. A father's discipline is rarely noticed in the moment. It doesn't come with applause. It doesn't demand recognition. Most days it looks like nothing special. But over time, it becomes everything. It becomes the calm in a child's nervous system, the sense of safety they carry into unfamiliar rooms, the confidence to stand without needing approval. A disciplined father doesn't try to be remembered. He focuses on being consistent. He understands that love is not proven by intensity, but by endurance, by staying steady when life is unpredictable, by showing up when it would be easier to disappear, by choosing responsibility again, quietly, daily. Children may never fully see what he protected them from. The chaos that never arrived. The mistakes that stopped before becoming patterns. The storms that were softened before they reached the door. And that is okay. Because discipline is not about being seen. It is about being felt. Years later, when children face their own pressure, they may not recall specific lessons, but they will know how to breathe, how to pause, how to continue. They will carry a calm that feels familiar, a strength that doesn't need to explain itself. That calm is the echo of a father who lived with discipline, and long after his words are forgotten, his habits will remain quiet, steady, unbreakable. That is how a father's love lives on.